Well, hello there! Today is super exciting because I'm unboxing and trying out a gift box of HIMI art supplies that I won in a giveaway. Hi again, I'm Rafaela and I'm a mixed media artist, and let's get into unboxing! Quick note, all opinions are my own, so you know you're getting the real deal. First off, let's talk about the packaging. I really like this minimal design inside and out. Inside I found some info material about all the included goodies. The set has their unique jelly gouache, watercolor pencils, watercolor pens, acrylics, brushes and even some paper. We will mainly focus on the gouache today, but I couldn't resist swatching the watercolor pencils and the watercolors too. I decided to hold off on opening the acrylics though, because I have a little surprise planned for you, so stay until the end of the video. Here's the info material once again, so that we actually know the names of each product. I just really enjoy this, it's such a nice touch. The packaging is minimal, but I do really enjoy this because it also reduces waste. The paper felt great, especially for gouache, because it was not too thick. I don't know if it would hold up a lot of water very well, like I like to use. But I did really love the texture on it. It was subtle, but there was some grain on it. In the box was also some thinner and not textured paper that didn't have a label on it, but I think it was meant to be used for swatches, which I did. I used it to swatch the watercolor pencils. And it worked great, even though it wasn't as thick. And now to the star of the show. I have wanted to try HIMI's jelly gouache for ages, but I could never justify the purchase since I already own other brands of gouache. The color selection threw me off a bit. I'm more of a magenta, cyan and yellow kind of girly myself, rather than the classic red, yellow and blue. The color selection was the same for every art supply in the box, so I kind of had to make do with what I had. I think the watercolors are really cute and they came with a lid, which I really appreciated, and I'm really excited to see how they will do in the swatching test. The brushes were synthetic and much more like makeup brushes than I thought they would be, but in the end it turned out to work really well with the gouache. I also really love how they feel and how they look. That light lilac color is so sweet, and just like the watercolor pencils, they have like embossed silver font on it, which I think makes them look really high-end. Just like everything else, the watercolor pencils had an unconventional color selection, but I was pleasantly surprised by how vibrant the hues were and how easily they dissolved in water. But you can see that for yourself now. Let the swatching begin. Do you see what I mean? Like, this makes it look really high-end, and they also felt very great and soft in my hands. The red pencil was especially pigmented, very fun to use, I love them. And now we're going to check how easily they can dissolve and if they are going to leave behind any lines. I feel like they seem to stay a bit on top of the paper. Like with this blue, you can kind of see me pushing it around a little bit. But overall, I think they did great. The colors dissolved really well and didn't leave any streaks behind. And I actually do like the color selection. And now we're going right in with the HIMI Jelly Gouache. Opening the pots is as always a bit of a struggle, but in the end I got it out and I really loved seeing the jelly texture of the paints. It's just so fun in my opinion. Just really wanted to squeeze them. And to test out these paints, I decided to paint strawberries because they're one of my favorite subjects and I love how fruit looks with gouache, even though I'm not really that good at gouache. As always with gouache, getting the right consistency is the most tricky thing. It is very hard to balance how much water you take to the amount of paint that you use, especially with these. I think since these are already in a very paintable consistency, it's hard for me to figure out how much water I actually should add in them. But getting the consistency right with gouache is crucial to avoid dry brushing and so that you can achieve very smooth layers. So for the artwork, I started by taping down the edges of the paper with my own washi tape that I designed myself. It is sold out except for a few rolls that I kept for myself, but it has always been one of my favorite things in my shop. I felt like I needed some clean edges for the reveal because I wasn't really confident in my gouache skills and needed all the help I could get to avoid messing up. Since I wanted some lighter shades, I brought in my own white gouache from the Schmincke's student grade collection. And then I already started sketching out the design that I wanted with the red colored pencil and the green one as well. can finally start with the gouache. Because we're resourceful, we scrape off the paint off the lid to use first. And this is it mixed together with the white that I showed you earlier. Really like the coverage of the paints, and I think the pink shade that the red and white created is very nice too. Using the yellow and blue from the set, I tried mixing a shade of green, but as I expected, I couldn't get a very vibrant green. This is more of a dooky green. In the end, it still looked good, because if you're working with a limited color palette like this, then the colors usually look well together. But I didn't know that yet, and I was really not having a lot of hope for this to turn out well, because I didn't really like the green. After that, I sketched in some sparkles with the yellow watercolor pencil, which worked surprisingly well. The pencil was very smooth and it dissolved into the paint seamlessly and didn't make any problems with any of the colors. The red was especially vibrant, which I really liked, but overall I was just struggling with the consistency, which is more of a me problem than a paint problem. For the background, I used the blue gouache straight from the container because it's such a beautiful shade and it fit the composition very nicely in my opinion. But here it proved again that getting a consistent thickness for the background was a bit of a struggle for me. The jelly consistency was fun, but also challenging to work with, especially for larger areas. I finished up the background and then let it dry, and while this was drying I swatched the watercolor pans. The vibrancy of the colors really stood out and I love the little pans. They're super cute and really practical with their tiny lids. The colors were really bright and smooth, and I think I would really enjoy the color selection despite there not being magenta or cyan in there. So despite my preference for a different primary palette, these watercolors impressed me with their richness and ease of use. Please let me know what you think about them, because I'm actually really impressed and I wouldn't have thought that HIMI would make great watercolors. And now for the big reveal. I'm really happy with how it turned out despite some bumps along the way. The HIMI gouache was fun but challenging to use for me, but I really like the bright colors. Overall, I think HIMI has some cool products, and if you're curious, they're definitely worth a try. And now for the surprise I told you about. I'm giving away the HIMI Gift Box we just explored together. To enter, just subscribe to my channel and leave a comment about the video. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching until the end, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye!